A good trade is one where you follow your plan, regardless of the outcome. If you have a plan that historically has been shown over time to be profitable, if you follow your plan, then you're going to be fine. You remove the emotions of, is it going to make money or not make money? This is the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast, brought to you by 10MinuteStockTrader.com, where we cover finance, stocks, options, entrepreneurship, education, and money. And here's your host, voted one of the top 100 people in finance, Christopher Uhl. Hey there, traders. Welcome back to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. Today, we have a special lesson for you. I'm putting it here on the podcast because I really believe that this is going to provide you massive, massive value. And that's what I'm trying to do here. And hey, listen, if this podcast was useful to you at all, I really highly suggest that you go check out the full trading course at AIStockTradingSystem.com. That's AIStockTradingSystem.com. Hey, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we give you more tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter every single week. Hey there, traders. Welcome back to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. Today, doing something different. So this is options trading mistake number 3. And I got this series from Ally Invest on the YouTubes. And what I wanted to do is basically make my own version of it. So I did options mistakes 1 and 2. And now for number 3, I'm going to do like a commentary video. So basically, we're going to watch the video together. I have not seen it ahead of time. So I'm going to stop it, give you my opinion, and talk over it as we go. So hopefully this works. And, thank you for tuning into today's podcast. I'm really excited to see what they share here. I'm sure it's great. I have no doubt about that. But we're just going to watch it together and see what we can all learn together.
And are not suitable for all investors. Options investors may lose the entire amount of their investment in a relatively short period of time.
Already, I agree with this fully. I can't stress to you how much money I lost, how much heartache I felt when I first started learning how to trade. And like they said right there, you can lose the entire amount of your investment, like buying a call and watching it go to zero in a relatively short amount of time. Yeah, I agree with this completely so far.
Hello, today we're going to talk about common option trading mistakes that beginning option traders make.
By the way, I should just mention that I'm really glad that there are people who take the time to make these videos. Not just me, but like brokerage places like Ally Invest. It's in their best interest to keep people going. But you may have heard the statistic before. 90% of traders lose 90% of their accounts in the first 90 days of opening. So there's either 2 ways to make money. You churn through tons of traders, or you keep your traders and let them be profitable for you. So while this is somewhat self-serving in that way, because they do want people to be educated, I actually think it's a great service.
Another common mistake that beginning option traders make is not having a defined plan before someone gets into the trade. So if I look at option,
you may have heard me mention it before, and I teach this inside of the AI Stock Trading System course. I couldn't agree with this anymore. One of my steps is having an unbreakable trading plan. And that's exactly what they're covering here. So like I said, I haven't watched this before, so I'm kind of excited to see this. But there is no trader who has ever been successful on accident. Well, I mean, you can get lucky here and there, but unless you have a plan, you're not going to be successful. You need to know when to enter and when to exit, and know exactly what option you're going to buy, how you're going to buy it, everything that you're going to need to know ahead of time. So having a plan is crucial. Let's go back to this.
Trading. When you're trading both stocks and options, it's critical to control your emotion.
Hey, I think I just said that. You have to take your emotions out of the trade.
And that's what this plan is supposed to accomplish. So having a plan and working your plan is critical. Because of the leverage factor in options, you have to act fast.
I couldn't agree more. Honestly, acting fast could make the difference in losing your entire account, losing the entirety of the trade, or being able to move on to the next day. So yes, totally agree with acting fast.
If you've ever said to yourself after placing a trade, well, I'm just going to give it one more day, you're basically are.
Oh my gosh, that was exactly me when I lost my accounts. I'm just going to give it one more day. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. Maybe I'll come back the next day. I'm just going to give it one more day. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Guilty of not sticking with your plan. A friend of mine that is also an option trading mentor always
I'm really glad you have friends because I don't have very many. It's very lonely here.
says to me that I'd rather teach option trading to a fifth grader than to an adult. Why is that? Well, if you tell a fifth grader to do something, they'll usually do it. You talk
Not always.
to an adult, specifically in the stock market, they always say, well, the Fibonacci might have bounced off the Bollinger Band. I just figured one more day, it would probably end up coming back. Bottom line is, if you have a plan, you need to stick to it.
He actually brings up a really good point here. Teaching an adult to trade it can be difficult because we have so much emotionality tied up into the results of the trade, especially if you have just agonized over your analysis forever and ever, and you finally decided, oh, this is the trade I'm going to make, and then it doesn't work. I mean, you have all these reasons why it should work, rather than all the reasons why you should get out. There's a huge key distinction here. One of my friends I've had on the podcast, his name is Greg Gossett. In fact, I'm going to be having him on in the near future. He talks about how he enters every trade with the expectation of losing. And I said to him when we were having this podcast one day, I was like, Greg, I don't think that's a great idea, because if you do that, then aren't you just kind of setting yourself up to fail? And he's like, no, I'm setting myself up to be defensive whenever that happens.
It's a lot better sometimes to take a small loss than stick around and take a big loss. I like to say when I'm trading, some of my best trades are trades where I stuck to the plan and I got a small loss just before the market went against me hard.
That's so true. So there's different categories of trades. One is a good trade that you put on and it's a winner. Another is a good trade that you put on, you followed your plan, and it was a loser. And that's okay. And there's bad trades where you put it on, you didn't have a plan, it was a winner. And another bad trade is where you put it on, you didn't follow your plan, and you had a loser. That's the difference, right? A good trade is one where you follow your plan, regardless of the outcome. If you have a plan that historically has been shown over time to be profitable, if you follow your plan, then you're going to be fine. You remove the emotions of, is it going to make money or not make money? And I know that you're probably thinking, Chris, oh yeah, this is so easy for you to just talk about, not making money. But really, when I have a tiny loss on the trade, I am so happy because it didn't work. When I have a big win on the trade, I am so happy because it did work. And if I had a big loss, that means I did something wrong. Maybe my analysis was wrong to get into the trade, but if I let it turn into a big loser, that's where people fail. That's the recipe to blow up your account. Trust me, I've done there. I've made that recipe twice.
So it's quite simple. How can we trade smarter? Well, before you get into a trade, you want to know, okay, where is the downside risk? Where is the upside risk? When am I willing to get out on the downside, and when do I want to get out on the upside?
This is really key, right? It's having the plan. It's not, buy here, exit there, but it is exactly what he's talking about here. And one of the things that I do with my worst cases he's talking about right here is I use those moving averages. I describe all of this inside the course in full detail. But with the moving average, it kind of moves up over time. As the stock price is moving up, the moving average is going to follow along with it. So your max loss actually gets less and less and less as time goes on. And your acceptable gains, well, let it run for as long as it can. Only once the stock price turns around, that's when I get out. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I'm sure going to let it run as far as it can.
And once you have that plan in place, it's very critical that you stick to it. This is a very common mistake, specifically with option traders, because when you come from the stock market, you can just buy a stock and a lot of people will just hold it forever. And that's a common strategy.
You can't do that with options. You can't hold it forever. I mean, in theory, you could if you bought like a million-year outdated option, or if you just rolled it and rolled it and rolled it. But options are a completely different beast than that.
But in the options world, there's a time factor. So it's more critical in the options world to have a plan than it could ever be in the stock trading world. So
Totally agree. So here's where I'm thinking, right? With a stock, you have equity. With an option, you don't. You don't have equity. So if the option is not working for you, it's not like you can just sit there and be like, okay, my $100 stock is now at 95. I've still got $95. It's fine. Let's say you bought an out of the money call. That $100 stock that went down to 95 now means you have zero. You don't have $95 left. You have zero if that option expires out of the money. It's a huge difference. And that's why whenever you start trading options, you have got to understand your risk and understand the components of what goes into an options trade.
simple request. Once you put on the plan, stick with it. Well, that's it for today. I look forward to your questions.
That's it for today.
Comments. In the meantime, may all the options you bought finish in the money and all the ones you sold finish out.
All right. So let's wrap it up here. So the title was Having No Exit Plan is Options Trading Mistake number 3. I couldn't agree more. Like I say, this is exactly one of my core fundamental strategies that I teach inside of the course is having an unbreakable trading plan. It's exactly what I call it, unbreakable trading plan. It can be automated. It can be an Excel spreadsheet. It can be, pen on paper. It can be a line drawn on your chart, whatever it is. Once you have your plan, you've got to stick with it for entries and exits. And by doing that, you will hopefully not make some of the same mistakes that I've made and other options traders have made whenever they blew up their accounts. So listen, I hope you found this helpful. If you could, please make sure you like, subscribe, and enable notifications. That way you never miss any of the tools, tips, and tricks that we upload every single week to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And I'll see you on the next episode. Okay, so what'd you think? That was pretty incredible, right? Now, if you liked that, that's only a taste, only a sample of what you're going to find in the full AI stock trading system. And I really highly encourage you to go and check this out. Obviously, you are interested in learning and how to trade, and that's why you're listening to this podcast. Now, I'm going to take and download my entire trading system that I use day in and day out onto you. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is over at the AIStockTradingSystem.com. You're going to get phase 1, 2, and 3, several bonuses, and on top of that, I'm going to walk you through over a dozen trades that I put on inside of my account, holding your hand and showing you exactly how I got in, how I got out, how I use the artificial intelligence data, and how this could work inside of your own trading portfolio on a daily basis. So make sure you head on over to AIStockTradingSystem.com. That's AIStockTradingSystem.com to learn more and to get started and to download my decade plus worth of trading experience into your hands so you can start using the AI stock trading system today, the 5-step system to take the guesswork out of trading. Hey, if you like this video, let me know by leaving me a like below, and then subscribe and share it with somebody you think could use it as well. Be sure to comment below with your biggest takeaway from this episode and any suggestions you have for future episodes. And finally, make sure you watch these other videos to help you trade faster and trade smarter, and I'll see you on the next episode.